In today's world, people are fighting for equality. The concept of equality being that we were all created by the same one. And that one cares about all. And therefore, how can one be more important than the other? This is one side of the equation. This is one way of looking at it. This is the way people are choosing to look at it today. And there's good reason why today we would want to look at it this way. It's because the truth has been lost. So even those who assume that they're better, they're holier, they're more liked and desired by the Creator, today we can't trust anyone's judgment. The information is simply not available. Humanity has been suffering for so long that we've forgotten what a human being is supposed to look like. And therefore we have no idea really what the Creator truly desires. We're all making efforts based on our understanding, whether we consider ourselves to be religious or not religious. We're all trying to please the Spirit, because when the Spirit is not pleased, we suffer. So we have different techniques. Some of us are more aware of what they're trying to do than others. But all of them are trying to appease the one that dwells within all in their own way. And the one that dwells within all is more at ease in some of us than it is in others. It's more in line with certain beliefs than it is with others. It's more in line with certain emotional experiences than it is with others. And so today, because the truth is so distant, because the truth is so unknown, anyone who thinks that they're superior is to be assumed that they are simply relying on their own opinion. They have no way of verifying their superiority. And so equality is a natural outcome. If there's no real truth and everybody thinks that they're better than the other simply because it's them, it's what they're used to, then of course we cannot make one superior to the other. We wouldn't know who is superior to the other. But in ancient times, when the truth was known, there was an understanding that not all are created equal. In fact, no two are created equal. And this is obvious everywhere in nature. The only reason that we don't realize this is because when dealing with humans, the ego, the investment we have in ourselves, makes it difficult for us to contemplate reality in a fair way. So we don't realize that nowhere in nature is there equality. Every animal has its own strengths and weaknesses. Every animal has its pecking order in the hierarchy of who gets eaten by who. And the same thing within humanity. Every type of culture, every type of gene has its benefits, has its strengths, and has its vulnerabilities, has its weaknesses. This is the nature of the world. The nature of the world is that we come together as one by all of us doing our part as best as we can do our part, not by all of us trying to be on top. When we recognize our place and we fulfill that role fully, then we've successfully manifested ourselves. If we try to be something more or something less than what we were designed to be, then to a certain degree, we fail. That energy that's being spent on being more is not being spent appropriately. And the lack of energy, because we're trying to be less, is causing us to manifest a smaller portion of the life that's available for us. And so this is true on all levels. Just like within the human body that unites as one, each organ, each limb, each part plays its function and only its function. And it only gets scored by doing its function right. If it tries to do any other function, that's already a dysfunction. And so, just like in the body, they unite together, all these parts, all these portions, the same way in the collective human soul. And in the collective human soul, all the different portions, all the different parts are coming together to create a unity that only functions properly if all the members of the collective are doing their part. If all the members of the collective want to lead the collective, then there is no collective. And so for this reason, every nation, every family, every individual has his particular manifestation of what he represents in reality. And that's his only place, that's his only goal, that's his only purpose. It cannot be measured against any other individual, it cannot be measured against any other nation, because what might be success for one is an absolute failure for the other. So there is no comparison. In reality, there is no equality. Equality is what we need to make things fair, because we don't know, because we've lost access to reality. So we cannot have each person based on how important they think they are. That cannot dictate who comes before whom. But when reality was known, people tried to play their parts. People tried to be faithful to the reality that created them. And this reality comes out throughout time. So the stars are constantly rotating, and the specific genes that are being passed on from the ancient world, starting after the flood, are being manifested through the different energies that come from the stars and collect to create the individual. And so constantly different parts are being produced, different areas of potential, of development, of evolution, each one coming out in its own time, representing a specific form of the divine essence, never produced before and never to be produced after. So we're going to start. I'm going to start the Degel. Talking about the blessings that Bilam is giving to Klal Yisrael, even though Balak asked him to curse. And this relates to Klal Yisrael being chosen by the Creator, chosen in the sense that from all the genes that are going to go through the cycles of the stars and create manifestations of the human spirit, these genes take a form that is closer to the intelligence that's manifesting itself. And this has to do with the ones who created these genes, the ones that are called Ovos, the ones that are called fathers, the patriarchs. They're the only ones that are called fathers because they formulated something within the gene that created a imprint that is still effective today. They understood the process of creating seed in a way that they could improve the seed as it was being created. They weren't the only ones who had these forms of wisdom, but they had special knowledge about this wisdom. And so while many were creating custom children in order to gain different advantages, the Ovis created seed that has a very specific inclination towards compassion. And this inclination towards compassion becomes the throne for increased wisdom. Because compassion results in a more intimate relationship with life. And life reveals its secrets to those who love it. Those who love it in the spiritual sense, those who understand the beauty of what's transpiring. And so, by creating this unique seed that has an increased inclination towards compassion, there was a preparation for a revelation of the human spirit that was not possible in any other seed. And this revelation of the human spirit has been protected throughout history by the leaders of the generation, by the wise, starting with Moshe Rabbeinu, who created the protective armor of this spirit, of this intelligence, by giving the Torah, by delivering the prophecies that have kept this nation separate, that have protected this gene throughout history. And this gene is destined to remind man the real relationship that we are supposed to have with reality. So after all the wars, after all the suffering, after all the craziness, this gene is going to discover compassion because that's its nature. That's how it was designed to be. And so Bilam, who didn't understand fully the importance of this gene, the importance of this branch of the tree of life, he thought that he could simply use his powers, his spiritual powers, to separate this branch from its source. But as he approached this mission, he came to realize that this branch has an extra protection that could not be violated. And so he says, Vayomer Bilam al Balak. Bilam says to Balak, you stand with your sacrifices, because he's elevating himself spiritually. He's going to cast a spell. So he wants to go very deep into the collective and over there cast a spell. And then the angels, the spirits, are going to manifest the curse. So he's bringing sacrifices and he's transcending. Vayikar Hashem el Bilam. Hashem finds him there, makes himself available. Vayosem davar b'piv. He puts something in his mouth. Vayem eshuv el Balak v'koi sedaber. Go back to Balak and koi, like this, you should say. So it worked. He did his process. He had a spiritual process. He succeeded. He received instruction and he comes back. He doesn't know what's in the instruction. He just knows that he has a message he received from the collective, and now he's going to cast a spell. יש לו בזה. מדוע בפעם ראשונה למה ונוחי קורא קוי לקוי סדבר? ויש לנו בתחיל הנובן למה היקרא השם יסברך כן כי צריך לישראל בבחויסו של בו. Why do we need this entire process? What do we gain that this man, who is obviously available for hire, he's not somebody that's extremely ethical, is going to give us blessings just because he has the spiritual power? We know that he is not desired by the one who created life. He violates all the principles that the one who created life already implanted within the human heart. And so he is no friend of the one who created life. What do we need his blessings for? אלא דעניין לכך, בכבוד השם ברכו באבוסו וחיבוסו לעמס גלוסו. Because Baruch Hu had a deeper kavanah. He had a reason of what he was trying to accomplish. And this relates to the love and the closeness that he has to his favorite nation. Why is it his favorite? Because he is intelligence and he appreciates those who can appreciate his intelligence. He appreciates them because they know how precious what he created is. Those who don't have the intelligence don't realize that it's so precious, and therefore they waste it. And then the wisdom is not pleased. This is not intelligent to waste something so precious. Intelligence gets offended by this. And so the Am Sgula of HaKadosh Baruch Hu means the nation that is prepared to interact with the source. They're prepared because they're constantly striving for intelligence, and they have an inclination towards compassion. And so, because he loves so much this specific manifestation, just like he has no limit and has no end, the same way, there should be no end to the blessings that come on Klal Yisrael. They should get blessings from all the worlds, from the worlds above and from the worlds below. Even from the evil ones, even the demons should bless the nation of Israel, should bless those who search intelligence, those who search truth, those who bring blessing to reality. Even the evil angel should confirm the blessings by force, whether he likes it or not. Because we are tied to the name of the Creator. The name of the Creator is the interpretation humanity gives to reality. That's how the Creator is known. The Creator is known through His creation. So how we interpret creation is how we interpret the Creator. And who gets to interpret creation first? Klal Yisrael gets to interpret creation first. Most people on this planet believe in our prophets. They believe in their prophets also, but they also believe in our prophets. We don't believe in their prophets, but we also believe in our prophets. So everybody agrees that our prophets were saying the truth. The argument only starts what happened later. And so when we know what our prophets were saying, nobody can argue with that. That's the message coming directly from the divine. Everybody agrees, except those who don't believe that there is a divine, because they haven't realized what is being discussed. They haven't realized that we, the ones aware within the human body, are not knowledgeable enough to know who we are. And therefore, the only truth is the truth of how we operate. And that truth is a divine truth. It's alive. It's talking right now. It's alive in all of us. That's what makes it divine. It's real. It's not just a tree, it's a walking and talking tree. And so that speaks for itself. That is the source of prophecy, that walking and talking tree. When he knows who he is, he's a prophet. And so Klal Yisrael represents the name of the Creator, because Klal Yisrael represents the first interpretation of who the Creator is. And then that interpretation gets chewed over by everyone else. And so, because we're tied to his name, we accept his unity on ourselves every day, in the evening and in the morning, when we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. So we unite the unity every day, morning and night, and we represent that the one who created life is one with life, that there is no other, that there can be no other, not in life, not outside of life. And so then we unite his name with the 25 letters of Shema Yisrael, 25 letters, Koi. So many of the souls of Klal Yisrael were given over in order to sanctify the name of the Creator, that they would not violate reality under any circumstances, under any amount of pressure, because that would violate the sanctity of the one who created life. And so many millions millions of human beings like you and I gave their life in order to sanctify the unity, so that humanity doesn't forget who they are and what they're attached to and how they're supposed to interact with life and with each other. And so this represents the name of the one who created life. And therefore they gave everything they had, their existence on this planet, in order to not violate that name, not violate the trust that they were given to represent the Creator. Many that have to overcome their desires, which is also a form of being killed. It's a little portion of the spirit is being killed when we have to overcome a desire. So they're doing it because they accept the unity. They accept that the individual is supposed to align with the collective in the way that we were all designed to be. And therefore, we cannot violate any members of the collective, because that violates ourselves, that violates the unity, that violates our source of life. And when we separate ourselves in the world of thought, then our nerves already know how to manifest that separation in the physical reality. So we experience life differently. Our decisions are different. And then we don't represent the Creator. We represent a fallen state of the human being. And so when the human being is attached, he's united, he represents the Creator, and he doesn't want to violate anything that's within the collective. There's many ways of how we speak about the unity. One of them is when we count numbers. So all numbers are really one. When we're saying 1,000, what are we saying? We're saying 1,000 units, 1,000 times one. So when we're saying 1,000, we're still talking about one. We're just one many times. So the same thing. So all numbers return to one unity. All numbers are one. And so therefore, the unity of the Creator is that he sees all of us as one. All of Klal Yisrael is one. Klal Yisrael is called Goy Echad Ba'aretz, one nation, with one heart, with one desire. That's what makes us powerful. When we will be one people with one desire, then nothing will stop us. What stops us now is that we contradict each other's desires. When we contradict each other's desires, then our desires are no longer powerful enough, because now we have something with similar power coming up against us. Now it's a question of who's more powerful. Now there's conflict, now there's inefficiency. לכן ויחד השם ברכי ישראל גם כן באחד, כדיסא בתפילין של הקדוש ברוך הוא כסיב ומי קם כישראל גוי אחד בארץ. The tefillin of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's connection to Kaviyachol, the holiness that he has on this planet, is that he has a united nation. He has a special seed, a seed that has additional compassion. Additional compassion means that they can unite better, that they can remove judgment from each other, that they can find within their hearts a way to love their friends and their relatives. So they're called Goy Echad Ba'aretz. It's one nation. There's only one nation that can do that in the ultimate way that it needs to be done. Zohar Kirsh speaks about when there's yichud between creator and creation, they have to unite as one. It should be one uniting with one. Creation has to unite as one, at least within a single individual, in order for the unity above to reside within creation. This is what it means. The creator is one and his name is one. Meaning when one recognizes his name, which is uniting all the parts to the unity, then the divine light that is the unity itself can reside within that one. That's he is one and his name is one. When he's perceived as one, then he becomes one in that place. Then he resides there. This is the souls of Klal Yisrael. Hem Shmo Yisbarach, they are his name. Our souls are his name. Our interpretations are the reality of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu represents in the world at that moment. The soul that lives is the name of the Creator. Wherever you see movement inside of you, that's the soul. That's the name of the Creator moving right there. You're looking at it. And he and his name are one. So when you unite all these forces, then he really appears. Because that's who he is. That's how he is. That's what it is. That's what he is when he comes into this world. When he's beyond this world, nobody knows what he is. We can't relate to that. What can we relate to? His name. His name is how he comes into this world. How does he come into this world? In the soul that's alive within this world. The one that's moving inside of you right now. That's his name. Whatever that soul reflects right now, that's how you're calling him. You're calling the Infinite One based on how you are in this moment. And then every moment. And he answers every call. There's a response. There's a language. He knows the language of what we're saying and what he's answering. But every movement inside of us is calling him by his name. The whole spiritual world is his name. The whole Olam HaMachshava is his name. Everything you think, you're dressing him up. You're calling him in a specific way, in a specific flavor, in a specific interpretation. וזה יש להם הטעם, שפעם ישנם הקדוש ברוך הוא לבלעם, שיבר פולג וכויס ידבר. The first time, הקדוש ברוך הוא tells Bilam, return to Balak and speak like this, הנה שגם אתם צריכים להודס על בחוסם, בשביל שמקבלים תומד עליהם ארדס שלי בכוי עזון ליחיד. Says, you go return to Balak, וכוי תדבר, you're going to speak now based on this koi, based on these 25 letters that they say every day, twice a day. They say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Now, I'm giving you a message that relates to that unity. You cannot buy me. You cannot place your spell that's going to turn the spiritual forces against this nation, because this nation represents my name. It represents how I'm being called into creation. You, Bilam, you receive life through them. They're not dependent on you, you're dependent on them. This is not the order. You cannot place a spell on them, they can place a spell on you. And so, Koisedaber, you're going to speak in accordance with the unity that they manifest. And you're going to have to admit to their blessings. Because they're accepting upon themselves my unity in the 25 letters of the unification. This is why the Kahanim says, with the unity you will bless the children of Israel. Bilam thought that also Klal Yisrael can only reach the level of Koi. The level of Koi is a level of prophecy that lacks clarity. He thought that they have the power from this level, like all the other nations. He thought that their power comes from where they're holding on to, that it's their thoughts, their intentions, their service that is giving them the power. So he thought to himself, Sheyasapula is going to do now a work. He's going to separate them from the unity. That was his intention. He thought their power comes because they're thinking the unity. They're intending to unite the universe to its source. And as long as they have that intention, they stay spiritually connected. But now, if I can distract them, if I can somehow make them think differently, then I can overpower them. Then they can drop from their level, and then I can place my spell. You stand with koi. You stand with your sacrifices. I'm going to make a pu'ula. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something that's going to separate them from the unity. That they shouldn't be able to have those intentions that they're having. They shouldn't be so devoted to their truth. They should be distracted from their truth. So he says, the fathers of these people, they prepared 7 sacrifices. So now I'm going to make 7 sacrifices against them, meaning he didn't understand the value of Klal Yisrael, didn't understand where they're hooked up to. So he thought that he can make a simple trade over here. He can do the sacrifices, he can do the services, and somehow, through that, he's going to overpower them. Kadosh Baruch Hu finds him and places something in his mouth. He put into his mouth something that will hold him back, that he won't be able to speak like he wants. And then he told him to return. You're going to speak. You're going to return to Balak. You're not even going to say anything. You know who's going to talk? Koi is going to talk. She's going to speak through you. You won't want to say those things. But she has something to say. And now, because you wanted to separate them from her, you wanted to separate the children from the Shekhinah, so now she's going to talk through you. The truth is not like you think. Their specialty is not because of what they're doing, like the other nations who go up and down based on their behaviors. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose them. It's not because they chose HaKadosh Baruch Hu that they're special. It's because he chose them, because he made them different, because they are different. And because they are different, reality respects their difference. Reality respects everything that is real. And so they've been designated to unite the unity on this planet. It's not about what they're doing. Even if you distract them, it doesn't change the fact that they were chosen. Even if you make them do whatever, it doesn't change the fact that they were chosen. They were chosen beyond their own will. They were chosen beyond their ability to disconnect. It's not up to them, and it's certainly not up to Bilam. And so Hashem Baruch Hu, he separated them. He made them different from all the other nations. He chose them to be to unite with him, one with one, until there's only one. It's one thing. It's one thing. The intelligence that created the world is going to unite with the creatures that it created. And that unification is going to happen through Klal Yisrael. That's the destiny of humanity. That's going to take place. Nobody can stop it. If that wasn't going to take place, we wouldn't be here. None of us, not the Jews and not anybody else. And so, therefore, when he starts talking, he says, the Hibet Dovim B'Yakov, Kosh Baruch Hu doesn't see any crookedness in Yaakov. L'Roma B'Yisrael, he doesn't see suffering. It's not hard for him to carry them. No matter how difficult it might seem for us to go through what we're going through, he doesn't get tired from carrying us. He doesn't see it as a problem because he already knows the solution. He already sees the end. The entire journey is worth it when we get to see the end. He already sees the end. The entire journey is already worth it for him. So he doesn't see crookedness. He's not upset. It doesn't matter what Bilam is going to make them do. It's not going to prove anything. It's not going to change anything. Hashem Lekavim, the creator, the divine force that lives inside humanity, is inside Klal Yisrael, is ready to be revealed within Klal Yisrael. It's through Asmelech Boy, and he has the power of a king. Haine Boy Mamish, within Klal Yisrael, is the power of the king that runs this planet and beyond. It's through Askepesh Rashi Loshen Reis. It's a friendship. As the friendship of the king. V'tagimoy, Ishchinas Malchayim Beineim, the Shechina of their king is amongst them. This means that they're united as one. We represent him in this world. What we do is what he's doing. What we do, we experience, and others experience. And that's his doing. He's the one that's in charge of our experiences. And yet he's doing it through us. Because it's the same intelligence. Intelligence that created all is the same intelligence that is growing and revealing itself within us. It's really one and the same. They're called the children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. His internal organs, his intestines, are warming up towards these people when he considers them. This is like in a person when he thinks about someone he cares about, when he feels that he misses someone, then it's called like his intestines are warming up. That's the lashon of how the verse is expressed. Therefore he placed in his mouth the koi sheyashchina. She's the source of all the blessings. Like we said by the Kahanim, that the pasuk says they should bless with koi, with the 21 letters, with the 25 letters. She represents the mouth and the speech of all the worlds. So all the worlds have all these different energies, and the Shekhinah as these energies come out as speech, come out in order, come out to create reality. So also within the person, his presence, his Shekhinah, is most manifest when he speaks, because then he reveals what's inside of him. They will get the blessings from the Shekhinah. And then the evil one has no choice but to agree with the blessings. So may we all gain access to these blessings. May the Shekhinah bless us all individually and collectively. And may all the evil have to agree. And then we shall be redeemed.